That is a very good question. So it looks like a lot of people in the crypto community are particularly bullish on that executive order that was done. At least that's what I've seen in the news for the most part. It looks like the Biden administration wants to explore a digital version of the dollar. And it looks like the executive order is calling on the government to examine the risk and benefits of cryptocurrencies. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So here we go. Excuse me. It looks like one of the directives of this executive order is about protecting consumers in a sense of consumer and investor protection, financial stability, illicit activity, U.S. competitiveness on a global stage, financial inclusion, and responsible innovation. Sounds like a lot of buzzwords, but let's see what they mean. It says the Biden administration is calling on the Treasury to assess and develop policy recommendations on crypto. It also wants regulators to ensure sufficient oversight and safeguards against any systemic financial risk posed by digital assets. So it sounds like they want to create more of like a regulatory agency, or at least regulatory divisions within, maybe the FTC, the SEC. Definitely
That,
think to keep an eye on for
that
sure.
makes a lot of sense though, because right now it's the wild, wild west. If you look at the leverage on certain centralized exchanges that are not located in the United States, the leverage is astronomical, and these people are going to get themselves into a lot of trouble because even though Bitcoin is a great asset long term, they're going into an extreme amount of leverage, sometimes even 10 to 1. I even seen 100 to 1 on one platform. I forget what platform it was. I
What
think it's
platform was
Reagan.
that? Just to warn people to stay away from that.
Oh, I think that's Binance actually too. Has that?
100 to 1 leverage? I thought that was 10 to 1.
I'm pretty sure they have either Kraken or
Oh
Binance.
my
One of them has
god! And
100
you know
to
what's the
1.
funniest thing too? But neither of those exchanges have a bit license, which is hilarious. Hilarious, because the bit license, for those of you who don't know, the bit license is pretty important because it's what allows you to do commerce, at least as a cryptocurrency company in New York. You are held to the same standards that banking institutions are held to. That includes KYC and AML laws. For those of you who don't know, KYC is know your customer, and AML, anti money laundering. So they're held to the same standards as banks as far as deposits and things like that are concerned. So really, the two main players in the New York market, and we look at New York not particularly for any other reason besides the fact that New York is kind of the financial hub of the United States, and for lack of a better term, really for the world. I mean, you look at New York and London, you want to see what's going on in the financial markets. London has the largest real estate market, but New York has the largest financial market with Wall Street right over there. So, they're the places that set the laws that really kind of set the stage for the rest of the world. So,
Oh, it was BitMEX. They have 100 to 1 leverage,
holy
which
fucking
is
shit.
crazy.
And you know what's funny? You see all these places doing this, and it's just like, if 100 to 1 leverage. Do you realize how insane that is? If Bitcoin moves down 1%, you are fucked. Like, you are just getting hit over the head with a hammer,
Well, you're
and it's
wiped
over.
out. A 1% downturn means you're wiped out.
Right.
You get
Right.
margin called for like 1%,
You've got to
which is
be
ridiculous.
crazy to do that. Even 10 to 1 Bitcoin's fucking ballsy too. 10 to 1? Shit. Bitcoin moves down 10%, you're fucked. It's over. You know how easy that is? We've seen Bitcoin, we're not new to this game. We've been in here for a while. We've been keeping an eye on crypto for a while. It's been on our radar for a while. We've been bullish for quite some time now. Like, we've seen it all. We've seen Bitcoin go from 18,000, 15,000, all the way up to 30. Then it run that, then it run all the way down to the bottom. And we've seen it run up to 60. Now it's
Yeah, I
trending
think
like that
I
40,
think they
45.
gotta regulate this leverage stuff. I think that's gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna hurt the consumer and it's overall gonna hurt the prospects of Bitcoin if more and more people get wiped out.
Yep.
And I think they need to regulate like know your customer more because there's all of these
Yep.
people on even on YouTube comments they're promoting scams using Bitcoin addresses, and if they had KYC rules where you couldn't send Bitcoin unless you have know your customer, like you couldn't send your Bitcoin, it would solve a lot of these scam problems.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is also due to the fact that it is such a new space and people are still learning, right? Like, you see all these creators coming out and they're sponsoring these fucking shit coins that are just rug pulls. And it's just like, I think a good rule of thumb for anyone listening is just if you want to get into the crypto space, like, there are a few people you could look to for guidance, but let's be real here. Anyone that's kind of like a YouTube person or like a social media personality and like they're not known for finance, like you don't go to them for finance, right? Like if you know the girl who you follow on Instagram who has a big ass and she just posts pictures of her ass, like if she just starts posting about financial stuff, like run for the fucking hills, right? You know, are you gonna ask your doctor for financial advice? Probably not, right? But if you're asking him about like what remedies, you know, you could take or undergo to like heal some type of ailment you have, then that makes sense. But, you know, it's just people are going to get really upset. And especially lately, it seems like a lot of these crypto scams and things like that are more targeted towards like creators looking to rip off their audience. And I can tell you this for a fact.
Well, they're getting away with it because they're getting these marketing payments, right,
Yep.
to anonymous addresses where they it can't get tracked back to them. So they pretend like they lost money in the scam too, the smart ones at least. And then, but these YouTube guys and other influencers are not that smart, and they get tracked back a lot of times.
Really, anything on the blockchain is non-fungible because when you think about it, it's all there forever. It's not going anywhere. You know, these transactions are going to be there forever, decades. So you're talking about catching people for committing financial crimes where, you know, the breadcrumbs are always there. If someone wants to catch you, they'll catch you. You know, they'll pin you. It's over.
If you think about it, a lot of these NFTs, they're worthless. They have no utility, and they're being propped up because there's no KYC rules. So you have all these people that scam Bitcoin and have do Bitcoin hacks and etc. They're propping up these NFTs so that they can launder their money through, and then they could say, "Oh, I made money buying a Bored Ape," or "Oh, I made money buying a what's the other one? The other
The
big one is
crypto punks, that was a big
right.
one.
I
And
made
they
money
just got
making
bought out by Bored Ape. I don't know if you saw that. That only came out a few hours ago. Google Labs now controls three of the most valuable NFT collections on the market.
yeah, so they're propping up these NFTs, and I think a lot of these NFTs that have no utility are gonna crash. KYC customer rules come into play.
To Yuga Labs, which is the creator of Bored Ape Yacht Club, was reported to be in talks with VC powerhouse Anderson Horowitz about an investment that would value it at $5 billion.
Well, that's a given. Andreessen Horowitz he invests in anything that's successful. You're going to see Andreessen
Yeah.
Horowitz is an investor in it.
Yeah, I mean, for him to not get involved in that space doesn't make any sense. You know, when you have so much money, you might as well just